Hi everyone. I'm finally doing something that I really wanted to do for a really long time. In fact, I did it once and I still have that episode on my PC. Um, I did record like one podcast episode several years ago, just by myself, but I just never posted it. So, whatever. But welcome to Casey's podcast. Let's go. Um, I'm still kind of deciding on the name. I don't know what to call it, but honestly, just Casey, whatever. And yep, this is me, the host, the man behind all the madness. Um, well, the chances are, if you're listening to it, you already know me personally, so I'll just spare all the introductions. We'll do them later. Maybe in later episodes, so you have more of an idea of who I am for the people who don't know me. But I just doubt anyone who doesn't know me will listen to it. But yeah, let me talk you a little bit through my setup. So I'm a musician, a recording artist. So I'm recording this on FL Studio actually, just because this is software I'm really familiar with using. And I'm using a mic. I'm using the Rode RODE NT1 mic for this. It's a compressor mic. So yeah. Oh, and also, like, several years into recording music, and I still don't have a mic stand. Yeah, exactly. Like, I thought a €50 for a mic stand would be too much of an investment several years back, but inflation happens, and now it's even worth more. So I should have just bought it. So my mic is just standing on the table right in front of me, between me and my PC and the monitor. Okay, hold up. Let me just check that it's recording as well. Oh yeah, hell yeah, it's recording. Sorry if you hear the mouse clicking. Anyways, but I just put it on the pillow just because it has a nasty habit of the sound has a nasty habit of just like reflecting off the wooden smooth top of the table right back into the mic, and it gives a slight reverb effect, so it makes dry vocals, or anything for that matter, impossible to really record. But also, I don't have a professional studio. I'm literally in my parents' house and it's just a room, so whatever. You'll have to bear with the natural reverb and ambiance of this room. I've closed all the windows, but if you hear any outside noises, don't worry. What else? What else? Well, it's morning. I just woke up, had a bunch of like cheese and a piece of jamon for breakfast, and it was like the last piece of jamon, and I'm so sad. Just because you can't get decent jamon where I am right now. It was like a gift from abroad, and it's just so delicious. Like, I was so in my cured meats era. I still am, though. Cured meats is something I'm really passionate about. Especially, I don't like anything smoked, but I just like cured meats in any shape or form, I guess. I just had a coffee. Oh, and the thing is, yeah, I didn't sleep that well, and I didn't have to be up for anything today. Sorry, that's just my phone hit the mug. Um, I didn't have to be up for anything today. So, you know what a boy like me did, instead of probably doing some aromatherapy, or I have these like pills which have lavender oil in them, they work wonders. I love like natural remedies and holistic medicine. But instead of maybe listening to some relaxing ASMR, maybe like a guided sleep meditation, I was just on my phone, on my Instagram talking shit. Sure, yeah. On my close friends' stories and on my private account, I was just talking shit. Um, I started a Twitter account just because like I have these random thoughts and it's just funny to write them down. But nobody seems to be interested in Twitter anymore or X or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Um, just because like I feel like Twitter now is more for private investigations, or like private browsing. It's just because people don't come to Twitter necessarily to talk to their friends and see what their friends are up to necessarily. They just follow these like random accounts, like random people, and see what they have to say. You get what I mean? Like it's that kind of vibe. Whereas on Instagram, it's more people that you usually talk to. Even though some people are way too mysterious and they post like once a year that they've gone on some expensive trip and that's it. Um, well, I have quite a social media presence. I love posting. You can call me a master shit poster. But yeah, one topic that I discussed yesterday around 1 in the morning in my bed was coffee. In fact, I just had a mug of coffee. That's why the mug is on the table. Um, and have a love hate relationship with it, just because now I'm sitting and I have a bit of a acid reflux flare up because of it. Oh, because coffee is so acidic. But it's very delicious to drink, like it's a very delicious drink when it's done properly, when it's done with like high quality ingredients. One thought that I reiterate from time to time is please throw the please throw the what's it called, instant coffee, throw that away now, please throw that away. It was probably sitting in your cupboard for like 2 years. Please don't drink that shit anymore. Like, at least go and buy yourself a fresh container of that. I don't, yeah, throw that away. Well, the thing is, we'll kind of get into it a bit later, but this year I was just kind of obsessed with this combo of coffee and coconut. And recently I saw, I think it was a TikTok of someone going to a really nice coffee place. And what they serve is a Vietnamese coffee, whipped coffee with coconut water. So, with like most coffee blends, you'll see that if you buy like an expensive high quality one, it's 100% Arabica, right? And everyone is like, Arabica is the best, yes. But with like cheaper blends, you'll see that they blend Arabica with Robusta. And Robusta has more of a bitter flavor, I guess. Like people just decided it had a worse flavor. Uh, but what we can objectively say about Robusta coffee is that it's cheaper to grow and cheaper to produce, and it's cheaper. But the thing is, in Vietnamese coffee, it's just Robusta coffee, no Arabica to speak of. Some blends I saw were combining the Robusta coffee with, oh my god, what's it called? Oh, this is so embarrassing. Sorry, I just have a name for it in my native language in my brain. Tsukori? Tsukori? Chicory? Chicory. I guess it's called chicory. It has like blue flowers and you like make the root of the plant into a drink, and it's like this bitter drink, but it isn't caffeinated. So yeah, like if you type in Vietnamese coffee, they use this thing, which actually my grandma has from Soviet times. It's like this contraption. You place it on top of the mug. You put your ground coffee in it, and there's like a press on top of it on this contraption, and it makes like espresso grade coffee, but you just pour water out of the kettle. I don't know the name of the contraption. I'm sorry, you have to Google it, but this is the best I can do at describing it. So that's what they use. They use metal contraption on top of the mug. Pour your coffee in, pour the water in, press it down, and you get this like very concentrated coffee, almost like espresso. Um, so yeah, they either use the blend with Robusta and chicory, and they add sweetened condensed milk to it for a really good mouth feel. Um, like please, if you're hearing this, please try coffee with um condensed milk. Condensed milk is another Sweetened condensed milk is another passion of mine. I tried cafe bonbon once. It's a Spanish like coffee slash dessert where you mix espresso with sweetened condensed milk in equal proportions. So it's very overly sweet and a very concentrated kind of almost a shot. Like it's not that big of coffee. But that's what the Vietnamese do. But the thing about Robusta coffee is that it has a very high fat content. Isn't that fascinating? But the thing about things that contain fat is that you can whip them into foam. Like whipping cream, for example. You get what I mean? You see where I'm getting at? So what they do is that they brew Robusta coffee, and you can brew it with the contraption, with the metal contraption, to get a very concentrated shot of Robusta coffee. You can whip it up, whip it up into foam, and you can put it on top of what? Coconut water with ice. And I saw this, looked amazing, looked heavenly. And usually with like TikTok coffee videos, they look really good when they're separated in layers, but then they kind of mix them and they all look the same. Here, it's quite the opposite. First, I was like, what the fuck is just cloudy water with some brown foam on top? How can this doesn't look that appetizing? When I started mixing it, I just started thinking to myself, can I imagine in my head what it would taste like? And honestly, think about this from a food science perspective. The bitter taste profile can be quite overpowering to some people. Um, I am a grapefruit kind of lover. You get what I mean? Like, I love a bit of bitterness, but I've grown cold to it, like, in last several years. But before, I just used to eat a lot of, like, grapefruit. I still like darker chocolate, though. I don't like chocolate above, like, 70%. I always liked coffee. But the thing about the bitter taste profile is that you can make it milder if you add salt to it. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what's the actual science behind it, but it's a thing. And I saw a couple of years back of people just adding a pinch of salt in their coffees to mellow out the bitterness. So here, I was thinking about coconut water. You know, you're like, imagine this. Imagine me. I'm like 14 years old. I'm on Tumblr. I was using Tumblr. I'm on eating disorder Tumblr. Does anyone remember Sonia Yesman? She's like a Russian model who lives in at least used to live in Toronto, Canada. Now I don't know what she's up to. But she was like famous for that. She's like, instead of eating breakfast, I just love eating a plate of fruit. No, honey. Please read like about nutrition. That's not how it works. Um, and she was doing these like vegan recipes, and she's like, I don't have any vegan milk on me, so what I'll do is blend a banana in the blender with some water, and it's really delicious with cereal. Sis was traumatizing the younger generations into eating banana water for breakfast. Yeah, and I remember when she was like, "Oh my god, please drink kombucha. It's so good for you." But the thing is, kombucha is also a thing in like post-Soviet space or Eastern Europe space. But the thing is, we call it Chinese grip. It's translated to as tea mushroom, tea mushroom, tea mushroom, and usually your grandma has it like in some tucked away corner, like this big yeast monstrosity. But now we know that this Kobe thing is actually very cute and it's like your little friend. But at that time, traumatizing. But I didn't know what kombucha was because I never heard that name. I just thought it was like a very cool Indian drink that's really healthy for you and has all this bacteria. I had no idea it was Chinese grip. I had no idea it was tea mushroom. And I bought it once in the store and it made me have diarrhea. And I was in a 3 hour drive in the car. Minute of silence. You know, like this is how deeply Sonia Yesman has traumatized me and terrorized my brain. And she was like top of the top on like eating disorder Tumblr. Another thing that she swore by. Sorry, my monitor went dark. I had to click to light it up again to make sure everything is still recording because this is some piping hot tea. Anyways, she was also like, please drink coconut water. It's so good for you. I've never tasted coconut water, even coconut milk at that point. Like, come on, we're in Eastern Europe. Like, the only coconut thing we've tasted was Raffaello and Bounty. So it's like, oh my god, I love Raffaello and Bounty. I swear I love coconut water. You open it up and it's like the smell of shit hits your face, kind of. You get what I mean? Who loves the smell of coconut water? Oh, and to reiterate how misinformed the Eastern Europe is about coconut products, period, is that you know how you when you open a coconut, there's a bit of water inside. We called this water coconut milk, and I remember my parents buying the coconut, and my dad opened the coconut. I was like, wait, where's the milk? I thought it was supposed to be white, which you know, coconut milk is white, but we called coconut water coconut milk, and it was this like cloudy water. And then I tried a sip of it, and it almost made me throw up. But yeah, think about it. So yeah, you open this like can of coconut water up, the smell of shit hits your face, like it tastes almost atrocious. But the thing about coconut water is that it is full of electrolytes. If you're stranded on a what's it called? Island with no people. If you're stranded on an island, you're surrounded by seawater, but it has coconut trees. You should drink coconut water. That'll keep you hydrated. Has a lot of electrolytes, some sugars. Very good for energy. And electrolytes are salt, right? Like it's basically kind of different salts dissolved in water. So if you mix coconut water, which is kind of salty savory, with this bitter coffee, oh, like the implications of that, the implications of that are just Oh, fantastic. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. So I had this whole shenanigan posted on my private story, not story, not close friend story, but private account on Instagram. I called it the Coconut Chronicles, and I really wanted to try that coffee, so I bought a coconut. Um, because they don't sell coconut water anywhere. Um, yeah. And the thing about coconuts here, that the amount of coconut water in them, I was not prepared for going through all the trouble of opening it up and having 2 tablespoons of it to work with. I was really disappointed, but yeah, I made coconut milk with the coconut flesh, um, and mm, dried out the rest of the coconut flesh after I squeezed all the cream out of it. And I made like a coconut cake, whatever. I was just like disappointed. This is a very disappointing day. At least the coconut cake was really good. It was really good. Um, but yeah. After that, I just went to this shop, bought coconut milk because they sell coconut milk here. And now my go-to coffee is, I do the double shot of espresso in my Lavazza um coffee machine, which has capsules in it. You get what I mean? Like, you put a capsule in, makes coffee. Make a double shot of espresso. I put sweetened condensed milk into it to make it creamy and sweet, and the rest is coconut water. And honestly, it is heavenly. Very delicious drink. But my initial goal was to try coffee with coconut water, ideally whipped robusta coffee with coconut water. Uh, but you might ask, why coconut and coffee? What could have possibly sparked this interest in you? And I'll say TikTok. And this is the reason why I don't go on TikTok anymore, just because it's not as entertaining as I'd like it to be. I just want to see some memes. I want to see some brain rot. I'm in so deep that each time I see a low battery icon pop up on my phone, I just think it's part of the meme. You get what I mean? Because some brain rot memes do that. Like, that's what I automatically assume it is. Oh, it's part of the Instagram reel, but then the Instagram reel keeps, like, well, anyways, it just like freezes. Yeah, it takes me a second to realize that it's actually my phone's battery is low. So for entertainment, I mean, short form entertainment, I usually use um, Instagram Reels, and each time I go on TikTok, it's too aesthetic for me. There's a lot of aesthetic content, and honestly, do we need that? No, I don't need the aesthetics anymore. But this was back in like February, and it's not like a video TikTok, it's a slideshow of 3 pictures. First one says, how to smell like dot dot dot. Intrigue. Next slide, coconut coffee, and it's Pinterest pictures of coconuts and coffee, and it looks creamy and gorgeous and amazing. Next slide is the products that they, you know, not advertise. I want to say advertise, but kind of, well, they give you an idea. It's just like a bunch of shower gels, shampoos, body lotions, deodorants, lip balms, but it also has a couple of fragrances in there. And one of them that caught my eye was Coffee Break. in the replica line by Maison Margiela. Okay, Maison Margiela. Next day, well, like I live in Dublin for the academic year. I went to Brown Thomas Boutique on Grafton Street. And I smelled it and I put some on my wrist. Where is the coffee note in Coffee Break? Where is it? Like, I feel this is one of the biggest ripoffs of our generation. I was so mad. The thing about Coffee Break is that it doesn't smell like coffee necessarily. It just smells like a milk drink. This was not supposed to be Coffee Break. This is Milk Break. I swear I cannot, feel any hint of coffee in there. I swear. So I was really disappointed. So I was just going around the boutique, harassing the assistants because I was mad as hell that, everyone lied. People go on Fragrantica, rate this fragrance just because it's the closest they can get to a niche fragrance, even though this is not a niche fragrance, but they feel like, oh, it's if By the Fireplace is so popular, even though everyone knows it smells like shit, then Coffee Break should be good as well. And they rate. Oh, I swear to God. I just hate the bigotry, the everything, the hypocrisy. Please just learn how to have your own opinion on stuff. Society could be so much more, productive in mundane shit like this if everyone just learned how to have their own opinion. Because they go and they vote that that it has a coffee note, and all the comments are like, what a nice mild coffee note. It does have a coffee note. Please. I can smell a bit of lavender in the top notes, and then the rest is just vanilla and lactonic notes. Please. It doesn't have coffee in it. I was mad. I was harassing all the assistants in the boutique, and they said, actually, Coffee Break is the only thing that supposedly has a coffee note that we have here. I was so upset. I stormed off to another store called Parfumarija, whatever, how you want to call it. Very nice people working there, always very informative. Parfumarija is one of my favorite stores in the world. They said, sorry, we don't have coffee, but we have a cacao note fragrance. And they showed me Batito Dali by Profumum Roma. And this is also one of the best fragrances I've ever sniffed. It has a top note of neroli, which is orange flower, orange fruit, the tree. Yeah, orange flower. In the middle, there's cacao, very prominent cacao note, maybe a bit of vanilla, and then in the base, it's balsamic notes of tree sap. I think it's olibanum, but whatever. Yeah, very delicious fragrance. And they had a coconut fragrance, which was called Cocobello by James Healy, I think. Let me Google this real quick. Cocobello. Yeah, Cocobello by James Healy. And at first you spray and it gives you this Malibu drink fragrance. And I love Malibu. But then 5 minutes pass and it transforms into this stink bug smell, which a lot of niche perfumery just has for some reason. I remember sniffing through Francis Kurkdjian fragrances, and one of them was Aqua something. he had made several aqua. I think it's like aqua universalis, aqua something, aqua something, aqua something. And one of these aqua smells just straight up like stink bug. I was like, come on now, come on. Like, yeah. So sometimes people are into a very niche perfumery, so stink bug smells really good to them. Anyways, but the thing about coconut and the coffee thing, in terms of fragrances, is that I'm not going to bust into Victoria's Secret and get their body sprays. I'm sorry, but I'm not a chav girl. This is this is something that I have to reserve for other people, for the culture. You get what I mean? Like, it almost feels like cultural appropriation to get a Victoria's Secret body spray. One thing in my searches that has been, well, semi-successful in terms of finding an actual coffee fragrance is a very interesting company called Demeter, however you pronounce it in English, named after this gorgeous Greek goddess. And they make one note fragrances, and you're supposed to stack them on top of each other. So my idea is to get their freshly brewed coffee, which actually has non-bot, non-automated replies on Fragrantica. People actually have an opinion about this fragrance. Thank God. And their coconut one. And we'll see how they layer on top of each other. But also, I really want all the shower gels, body lotions with the coffee and the coconut, body scrubs, whatever. Maybe a bit of shea butter in there. I just think it's a delicious way to smell, especially during the colder seasons. Right now in summer, I don't necessarily want to smell like that, but during colder seasons, I think it's very appropriate. Um, well, that leads me to the middle of the podcast. So I'll just take a little break, drink some mineral water, because you're supposed to have that after coffee, because coffee is very acidic. And as I said, I have a bit of an acid reflux flare up. I'll just put this on pause. Maybe get y'all some relaxing music, because I have a quite a huge catalog of my of music of my own doing, and I'll be right back. And second half is tied to this rant a little bit, but yeah, you'll see. Well, okay, I'm back. Had a nice drink of mineral water. I'd like to personally thank the country of Georgia for supplying us with the best mineral water on planet Earth. Of course, we love Borjomi, but in my opinion, like the little bubbles in it are too. They just attack your mouth in a very unpleasant way. So I'm more of a fan of Nabeglavi. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like this green bottle. That's my favorite mineral water at this time. I listened to a bit of the recording back. I sound very nasally. I'm so sorry. It's just because I had this like sneezing session. Most of the times when I wake up and I just have my breakfast, like a bit of time passes and I just start sneezing like crazy. Like, I swear I can sneeze up to like 15 times. And then my sinuses are just filled up with like mucus. I don't know what it is. I think it's something genetic. I'll also put a compressor over my voice because there's a bit of lower frequencies, especially with my breath and my laughing or whatever. Yikes. Anyways, so other thing that I wanted to talk about is that I was looking at other coconut fragrances online. One of them was also a replica one by Maison Margiela. Um, Other one was Estee Lauder. Lauder? Estee Lauder? I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm so sorry. But you get what I mean. And it's called Bronze Goddess. And I just looked at the packaging, I looked at the smell, and immediately what I thought, Miranda Lawson from Mass Effect. If you know me, you know that I'm an absolute Mass Effect geek, Mass Effect nerd. I listen to the Mass Effect lorecast on my trips, um, everywhere. Yeah, I live and breathe Mass Effect. The thing about it, I I think I'm gonna do an episode where I'll assign a fragrance to each of the to each of the characters, but I don't think it'll be particularly interesting or productive because like the listeners have to know the characters and the fragrances, and it only will kind of make sense to me because of my associative powers of my brain. Um, but I immediately thought Miranda Lawson. She will definitely wear Bronze Goddess by Estee Lauder, and she'll smell like this sweet coconut concoction. Definitely. And this just got me thinking. Miranda is so cunty. And let me quote myself. Sorry, this I opened Instagram. Let me quote myself on this because I don't recall writing this because this was in the middle of the night and I was just about to go to sleep. But now looked back at my stories. I was just wilding. Anyways, um, well, I said my sis Miranda definitely smells like that with a picture of Shepard embracing her from behind. Shepard is the main character. She's definitely wearing Bronze Goddess by Estee Lauder with a picture of her holding up a gun. And then I said, I'm sorry, but Miranda is just too cunty. The BioWare lead writer literally did 4 grams of cat, texted Madonna, sniff a popper, bitch, put his bussy right up against that pen, and the friction on paper lit it on fire, and it caused the fire that needed the whole building evacuated. Thank you, Drew Karpyshyn. Mass Effect 2 is the best in the franchise. I said what I said. And then I said, okay, this is it. I think I'm going to start a podcast and just ramble to myself. Woo! Where do I even begin? Well, I guess this kind of concludes the podcast just because I'm going to do an announcement that this section will have spoilers for Mass Effect. If you're not interested in Mass Effect, okay, this is a goodbye, click away. If you're interested in Mass Effect and don't want spoilers, okay, bye, click away. But Miranda, I don't even know where to begin. Well, actually, let's start at the beginning. Okay, this will contain spoilers. Everyone ready, kids? Ready? So, in the beginning of Mass Effect 2, Shepard, the lead character, dies in a catastrophe. So his spaceship crashes after being attacked by a mysterious enemy. But the thing is that his body, his corpse, was actually retrieved. It was first retrieved by the Shadow Broker, which we learned about in the first game. But then Liara, our companion from the first game, but also a romantic interest, if you wish, which in my head, romancing Liara is kind of the canon of the game. Because otherwise, I don't see her being that motivated to retrieve Shepard's corpse from the Shadow Broker. Like, what the fuck? So she retrieved the body from the Shadow Broker and then sold it to a basically terrorist organization called Cerberus. And Miranda Lawson was the lead of the Project Lazarus that essentially revived Shepard. So the first kind of scene Shepard sees when he, starts being conscious is Miranda just screaming at her assistant. She's, well, not that she's screaming, she still keeps her cool. She's like, damn it, he's not ready, Wilson. Give him the sedative. And she's like, Shepard, don't try to move. With her. I can't do an Australian accent, but she has an Australian accent. But then you finally wake up and you hear Miranda over the loudspeaker giving you directions. And she said, Shepard, I need you to wake up. This facility's under attack. I know your scars aren't healed, but I need you to get moving. And she kind of plays this role of the tutorial lady, so they walk you through the combat system of Mass Effect 2. So then you encounter Jacob, whatever. And then you encounter Wilson, which was, working on reviving you with Miranda. He's injured. He doesn't know where Miranda is. You give Wilson Medigel to heal his broken leg. You kind of go and escape all of the mechs that are attacking you in the base. And then Wilson hacks one door, and who's behind that door? Miranda. You just heard her over the speakers, and then you kind of lost connection to her. So it just kind of assumed that she's dead. She's not. And she looks at Wilson, shoots him right there and then. Jacob is like, what the hell are you doing? Miranda just goes, my job. Wilson betrayed us all. And Wilson was behind the attack on the facility. What an intro to Miranda's character. Like this line of what are you doing? My job. Wilson betrayed us all. The delivery is so cold, and she's such a bitch in that moment that it's just genius. Genius. Anyways, then you debrief with the head of the terrorist organization. You try to talk to Miranda. Well, there's this like very funny line if you pick the renegade option. Are you naturally this bitchy, or is it just me? You can say that to Miranda. But at the end, when you finish the conversation with her, she says, we have an assignment. We can talk about it, or we can do it. Oh my god, this is why I just love Miranda. Because that is just amazing. Well, what else? Well, there's so many moments in the game where she just like eats and does it with no remorse. She's just, she was born and genetically modified to calculate the square root of 64. You get what I mean? She like, yeah. You can talk to her later and ask about what her role is on your ship and in the organization. And she says, it is my job to make sure you succeed, Shepard. That's what she says to you. And This is actually so true from the gameplay point of view. Because let me explain the combat system of Mass Effect a little bit. So the enemies have health bars, and on top of that, they have different defenses. They have armor, which is a yellow bar, as opposed to health being the classic red bar. They have shields, which is a blue bar. And then they have biotic barriers, which is this purple bar. So the thing about Mass Effect universe is that it has this space magic called biotics, and it's basically tied to like everyone's nervous systems. So everyone can make, not everyone, but people that have biotic talents, they can create mass effect fields which alter the mass of objects. So you can essentially create a black hole by increasing the mass. You can levitate someone by making their mass lower. You get what I mean? So Miranda is a biotic. But the thing, okay, other things that Mass Effect has is obviously weapons. You can specialize in combat, or your teammates can specialize in combat. And it's basically just weapons, and you put in different ammo into weapons for, different types of defenses. And there's also tech, of course. It's a space opera, it's sci-fi. Of course there's tech. The thing about this is that different attacks, different weapons, different ammo types, they are only effective against certain types of defenses, right? So in my opinion, biotics are very effective against biotic barriers and health. Tech has powers that can bring down shields and armor, but then you depend on your teammates to kind of kill everyone. You're just stripping everyone's defenses. Whereas if you go to soldier, which is pure combat specialist, you need your teammates to strip down the defenses with biotic and tech abilities so you can finish off enemies. In Miranda's case, she's this interesting hybrid class. She's a sentinel. She combines biotics and tech. And the conclusion of that is that she is effective at stripping down any enemy defenses. Oh my god, so sorry. Technical difficulties. So, in terms of the abilities, what Miranda has is Overload, which is a tech ability, and it strips down shields. It overloads like bombs, canisters, makes them explode. Very useful ability. Then she has Warp, which is a biotic ability that gets rid of biotic barriers. It strips down armor. It stops regenerative abilities of the enemies. So there are some enemy types which regenerate health, and they can be tough sons of bitches to take down. Miranda takes care of that. Her passive ability, gives extra health and weapon damage to the entire team. So objectively, Miranda is the best teammate you can have in Mass Effect 2. She can strip down all of the enemy defenses, and she gives a boost to health and weapon damage. So she can strip enemies' defenses, and then the rest of your team can finish them off. Like, this is genius. Like, she is literally there to make sure you succeed in the game. So yeah. But yeah, she's very cunty. I love her design. She's just there walking on heels the entire battle. But it isn't made in like a weird way. But I don't know how to explain it. She's like this genetically modified, perfect human I won't go too deep into her story because I don't think I'm too well qualified to talk about this because I don't have the codex entries from Mass Effect games on hand. But yeah, Miranda is that hoe, and she smells like Estee Lauder. Estee Lauder. Um, Bronze Goddess. Well. But yeah, and in terms of Mass Effect as a franchise, the thing about it is that in the like early 2000s, I played little bits of all three games, but I didn't like them because I just didn't like the combat, and I didn't care about the story and the lore. Um, I was just like, damn, Mass Effect 1 is quite an old game. So I just played like the first couple of missions of each game. I was kind of unimpressed. Because, spoiler alert, you can't even jump in these games. Well, Mass Effect Andromeda comes out in 2017. It was just a shitstorm. I was just like, damn, there's no way I'm playing that. In 2018, late 2018, I was just like sick with a flu for a week. I was at home, had nothing to do. It's like, well, let's try to give sorry from yawning. It's just like the energy levels after having coffee are dropping down. Let's try it out and see for ourselves because you know what? I actually love to have my own opinion on shit. I don't let other people influence me that easily. So I played Mass Effect Andromeda. I was just like, damn, the faces look weird. But then when I got used to the faces and the graphics, I was like, oh my god, the lore is just so interesting. And Andromeda has the best combat system out of all of the games. It is truly a joy to kill enemies in that game. Anyways, so I just became kind of obsessed with Andromeda. I did several completionist runs of this game. And then the Legendary Edition came out. I didn't buy it straight away because it was quite expensive. But now they have sales. I mean, they had like early summer sales, so I bought Legendary Edition. And I've just been playing it ever since. Now they have Mass Effect Andromeda on sale, which I do intend on buying. Just because, sorry, I pirated the games. Yikes! But I was a child with no money of my own, and my parents were kind of hesitant to buy games because, bruh, they're games. But yeah, story wise, I think Mass Effect is quite interesting, but it is quite an old game. There's some aspects of it that are feel kind of unbalanced and weird. The fact that this game still has exploits and shit. You get what I mean? Like, bruh, design your games. But Mass Effect 2, I really love how they switched up the combat system compared to Mass Effect 1. It made it more concise and more kind of to the point. And I really like the weapon systems in Mass Effect 2. So in Mass Effect 1, you just kind of you like take the loot from everywhere, and there's like, oh, this weapon and it has level 1 and it has level 2 and it has level 3. You can buy it at stores, whatever. But the thing is, you have to constantly upgrade your equipment kind of each time you level up a couple of levels, and that is really annoying to me. In Mass Effect 2, you just buy the weapon once and you can put them on anyone. But I mean, it'll make more sense if you actually play the game. I just love the weapon system in Mass Effect 2. I think Mass Effect 2 has the best like weapon. Yeah, it's just because you don't have to constantly worry about upgrading your equipment. You just buy the sniper rifle that you want, and that is it. You can play your favorite sniper rifle or whatever. You get what I mean? So yeah. So in Mass Effect Andromeda, it's the same kind of. I mean, it's the same kind of as in Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 3 that you constantly have to upgrade your equipment. And it's just painful. It's just painful. You just have to go through so much loot. And the game just kind of becomes this constant sifting through loot, which is not that fun. Well, yeah. Mass Effect 2 is just great. Mass Effect 2 is you really have to play it and experience that for yourself. And yeah, this is it. This is all I kind of wanted to talk about. I guess I'll see you the next time I'll see you, and next time I have something interesting to talk about. And this is it. This is my podcast. This is Casey's podcast. Hey, thank you for listening. It's been very therapeutic and very nice to just talk to myself for 1 hour. It's nice that you can sort through your thoughts. I guess I'll do this instead of journaling, because journaling fucking sucks. It's for nerds. If you do journaling, I think you should find yourself a better hobby. Anyways, thank you for listening. I love you if you listened. Let's kiss someday. Anyways, bye.